Good morning. This is Robert Goodman here on Positive Stroke, Staying Clean. And today, about our recovery, we're going to talk about we admit it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact natures of our wrongs. Step 5. We admit it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact natures of our wrongs. Now, this step right here is nothing nice. And the reason why I say it's nothing nice is because you have to look at yourself, of your actions of your past, and the decisions that you made in your act of addiction, and how you harmed yourself and others in your decision making to get more, and more. This moment you are writing down this information and you're sharing it with those you've hurt. And before you even do that, you share it with another human being in the program of recovery. You share what you've done to yourself and what you've done to others. And you are bearing your soul of the bad things you've done to yourself and others. You are bearing your soul. And it's a very painful, overwhelming moment in recovery. Because as you read these things to another human being and give it to a power greater than yourself, which I choose to call as God, all these emotions and feelings come into play. Some of the feelings that you may feel, you may live that pain over again at that moment. But you're sharing this information with someone that has a working knowledge of the program of recovery, that has some time in the program of recovery, that has been through exactly what you're going through, has actually did the step 5. Understand what you're facing and what you're going through, and able to lead you through step 5. So as I share my pain, the things I've done to myself and others with this person in recovery that had a working knowledge of the program of the recovery, that has completed all 12 steps, that has some time in the program of recovery, has some years, have faced the obstacles and overcome them, and still staying clean and sober, I share my pain with this person. And when I shared it, the tears started to flow down my eyes. I could feel the pain as I created the situation like it just has happened before. And it was very painful. But when I completed reading this information about what I've done to myself and others, to this person that was guiding me through step 5, after I read it, we prayed. Then he looked me in the eye and he said, Robert, now it's time to give it to a power greater than you, which you choose to call as God, to restore your sanity, to let it go. We prayed. He set the paper on fire. And when everything was said and done, it seemed like 1,000 pounds of weight was lifted off of my shoulders. I felt light again. And as I had time in recovery, I realized that I was finally giving away the pain that I was carrying for so many years. I let it go. I shared what was going on with me, what I've done to myself and others. It wasn't a secret anymore. I wasn't ashamed because I was addicted to cocaine. That's why I used and abused. That's why I did any means necessary to get more. I was caught in that vicious cycle. And I wasn't ashamed of my actions, but I was finding a solution to my problem. And by me working on the solution instead of the problem, my life got better. Then I realized that the problem is not important. It's solving the problem. That's what's important. Overcoming the situation. That's what's important. Not hiding it, not being ashamed of it. Because I was told, Robert, you're just like everybody else. You're not perfect. You make mistakes. You have no control over people, places, or things. But you do have control over yourself if you pay attention to yourself. And my sponsor at that time said, as long as you pay attention to yourself, you can change your behavior. So that made me realize that I must keep the focus on Robert in order for Robert to get better. Also, I was relieved of not carrying this stuff anymore. That I was honest with one person about everything that has happened to me in my active addiction, the choices I made, and the things I've done. And for that moment, I didn't feel alone anymore. I didn't feel like I was ashamed because I remember hearing the stories of fellow brothers and sisters in active addiction sharing their stories in recovery about what they've done in their active addiction, the choices that they made, the mistakes they made, the craziness things that they've done to themselves and others. And I didn't feel alone. I didn't feel special in destroying my life. It let me know that I was in active addiction. That's why I did the things that I did. And now that I'm in recovery, I get to understand who Robert was in his active addiction. And by me understanding who I was in my active addiction allows me to understand thyself and to learn from my mistakes of the past and move forward on doing the next right thing to make my life better. But when I shared all the things that I've done to myself and others, it hurt because I finally actually looked at myself for who I was and the person I was in my active addiction. And recovery taught me and showed me who I was. And by me learning who I was, I didn't want to be that person anymore. I changed my behavior. I was on a mission to make Robert better, to move forward in my recovery. Realizing I duped and conned myself by allowing my addiction to control me, to get drugs by any means necessary to get high. But now that I'm in recovery, I see what I've done to myself and others, so I changed my behavior. I changed from being that person to being a person in living life on life's terms, being a productive person of society, following the rules and regulations and the laws of the land. Not steal, but make an honest way of living. Work, job, save, build. The most important thing that recovery taught me is that I was just getting on board on living life on life's terms. Because in my active addiction, I wasn't on board. I was just surviving. The means to get more to use. But when I crossed over into recovery to live life on life's terms, to do the next right thing, then I had to have patience. I had to understand that I had a long road to travel to be able to build a life for myself, because I destroyed it in my addiction. Recovery taught me that the people I tried to make amends to, most of them are not going to want to make amends to me because of what I've done to them, and they're going to hold that accountable to me forever. As I've been in recovery for some years now, I realize that it doesn't matter how better Robert gets, it doesn't matter how greater my life gets, those that I care and I love with will always hold my past over my head and don't want to have nothing to do with me, because that's their choice. That's the way they feel. They're allowing the situation to live rent-free in their head, to allow the pain to keep affecting them. So instead of feeling it, they don't want to see me or to be reminded of what I've done to them. The most important thing is I forgave myself. And I gave it to a power greater than myself so they can restore me to sanity, so I can build a life for myself in recovery. And that's what I did. But the pain and the separation of people that you love does not go away. You just learn how to live with it. Acceptance that people that you love does not want to forgive you. You learn to live with it. It's emotional at times. It overwhelms you at times, but you don't go pick up and use because they choose not to forgive you, because you built a life for yourself in recovery that's a blessing to you and others. You've done things to people that you know that know you by being in recovery. You've created a life where you have people that know you while you was in recovery, while you're there. They don't know that person that was in active addiction because you put time away from that situation. You built a life for yourself in recovery. You've kept the focus on yourself to make yourself better, because when you make yourself better, you're able to help others and have a good life. Recovery taught me that, Robert, you had to go from the people that you associate in active addiction, you had to erase them from your life and build a brand new life in recovery. And it took time to build that life. It took time for you to have people that are concerned about you, that care about you, that respect you. It took time to build these relationships in recovery. It took time for you to build the life that you have in recovery. And I'm truly blessed that recovery led me down a path where my life has gotten better, where I built a life for myself. But the greatest thing is I cleaned the wreckage of my past. I admitted to God, to another human being, the exact natures of my wrongs. I was finally being honest with myself and others. And by me being honest with myself, I was able to heal and move forward in recovery. That the mistakes of the past did not hold me hostage in my situation. But no, I was able to move forward in my recovery. So do not let step 5 overwhelm you, because I got to give up all the dirt that I done did to myself and others. They ain't gonna like me after they've been through what you going through right now. When you share that information with another recovering addict, they've been through it. And if you go to meetings and if you listen, you will listen and learn people have done much worse than what you have done in their addiction, and they're in recovery now, living their best life. So you can do the same. Don't let the past divert you from your primary purpose of staying clean and sober. Don't hold on to the mistakes of the past that caused you to do what you did. Don't hold on to it. You was in active addiction. You made that choice because you wanted more. You wanted your dope. You wanted to live your life high, escaping from the issues that you need to face so you can live your best life. The greatest gift that I have in recovery is able to look at myself honestly and openly, due to the fact that recovery says clean the wreckage of my past. And as I cleaned the wreckage of my past, which is the worst I've ever done, it made me easy. It made it easy for me to move forward in my recovery. Once I cleaned the wreckage of my past, once I shared the pain, it wasn't a secret no more. There was no shame no more. I was just another addict expressing what addiction made me do when I was addicted. And now that I'm in recovery, not getting high, living life on life's terms, one day at a time, doing the next right thing, my life is getting better. I'm creating a new way of living, a new life. But I can't change the past. I realized in living is that when people don't like the direction that you go, it's easy for them to bring up a mistake that you've done in the past to get you to change your way of thinking or your direction that you're moving. Because they want you to do a certain thing or want you to act a certain way or move in a certain direction. I have no control over people, places, or things, but I have control over me if I pay attention to myself. And if I pay attention to myself, I can protect myself from making major mistakes. Because when I cleaned the wreckage of my past, I learned who Robert was in his act of addiction and why he made the choices he made in his act of addiction. I learned something about myself in recovery. So the information that I learned in recovery protects me to live life on life's terms, one day at a time, one situation at a time, one problem at a time. Recovery taught me that we all make mistakes. The mistake is not important, it's what we do after the mistake. That's what's important. How we can make ourselves better, how we can make better choices with our lives. So don't let step 4 and step 5 overwhelm you, because all you're doing is cleaning the wreckage of your past. And once you clean the wreckage of your past, you will see the light at the end of the tunnel. Your life will get better. You'll realize that recovery is making you a better person. It's getting you in touch with that person that you forgot about, that your addiction took you away from. You get in touch with that person who you was before you was in your active addiction. And you'll begin to like yourself. You'll begin to have pride about the choices that you've made. You feel good that you've chose recovery. You feel good that you don't have to carry the pain and the mistakes of the past anymore, that you shared it and gave it to a power greater than yourself, which is I choose to call as God. Ask for his forgiveness. And you forgave yourself, which is the most important thing in recovery. Forgiving yourself for what you've done to yourself and others. That's a must. You must realize that you was in active addiction for what you've done to yourself. That you was controlled by the want and the using of the drug. That it had power over you because your body kept telling your brain, send some more down because I love the way it makes me feel. I hope what I shared today helps you to move forward in your recovery. Living life on life's terms is a job because you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. You never know what life is going to bring into your life, with the ups and downs of living life. But no matter what happens in your life, remember, it doesn't get worse as long as you stay clean and sober. You can work on overcoming. You can work on making it better. But if you give up and go back down the rabbit hole to medicate yourself so you don't have to feel that pain, then you're causing yourself to be caught in the vicious cycle of allowing the situation to live rent-free in your head over and over and over again until it destroys you. Life is nothing but a roller coaster. You have your ups and you have your downs. All you have to do is just do the next right thing. Work on making your situation better, moving forward. It's easy to blame. It's easy to point the finger. But it takes a person that's honestly in recovery to want to live their best life, to work on thyself, to make themselves better so they can live their best lives. If Robert does not work on himself, he does not get better. I hope what I shared today makes you think. This is Robert Goodman from Positive Stroke, Staying Clean, wishing you a great Saturday. And remember, you are the most important person to yourself. Only you can work on recovery to make your life better. You. I work on Robert to make Robert better. I can't make nobody else better. All I can do in helping others is give information. It's up to each individual to find their way in recovery. You have a great and wonderful day.